In this lesson, we are going to learn about optional parameters with default values. So, what are optional default parameters? Usually, parameter values are passed from the arguments, and if no arguments are passed, then parameter value will be null. Programming is difficult with null values, and it's hard to manage. So, we can assign default values to the optional name parameters to ensure that parameters are non-nullable. In this lesson, we will look at how optional default parameters are defined and used. Now, let's begin. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to handle optional default parameters. Previously, we learned how to use positional parameters and optional name parameters. In optional name parameters, you don't have to define all parameters as arguments unless you use it. But there are situations when you want to use variables without sending it to arguments every time. In this case, you can use optional default parameters. You can only use this in optional name parameters, not in positional parameters. Let's look at this example code. We have defined function cities with return type of integer. It requires two positional parameters, horizontal and vertical, and one optional parameter, which is height. Cities functions return the result of multiplication of horizontal, vertical, and height. It means that without defining height, this code will be terminated with error. As some of you have already noticed, optional parameter height is set to value 10 in this example. And in main function, only positional arguments have been set. So, parameter height has been set to 10 if no argument named height has been sent. So this code results in multiplication 10, 20, 10, which is 2000. What do you think will happen if we remove 10 as the default parameter? Then it causes an error because height has value of null. Now, what happens if we send default parameters as argument, which has different value? Let's send height as main argument in main function. It returns the value of 10 times 20 times 30, which is 6000. So you can see that default parameter value only works when argument value is empty. Let's summarize what we have learned. Default parameter is useful when you want to use parameter value, but you don't want to send this value every time. Default parameter value sets value to specific value. An optional name parameter is not sent to any value. Now, try a practice example for yourself in Dartpad or locally and see the different results and outputs. And that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.